Hello everyone, welcome to Data Hats Academy. This is the second session in this series, in this Power BI series. And in this session, I'm gonna, this is the agenda of this session. I'm gonna start with the introduction first and introduction to a simple use case. And then we will discuss about the data life cycle in Power BI. In last session, we have discussed about few basics of computer and data warehouse. And in this session, we are gonna look into end-to-end into Power BI. And next, we are gonna create a quick report, like starting from scratch, starting from getting data to how we publish to users, right? So that's the third one. And we'll come back, we'll explore the Power BI desktop, Power BI service, and the terminologies associated with it, right? And being that said, let's move to the first one, introduction to a simple use case. Let's say there is Sachin who want to open cricket accessory stores and in three cities. And since he can't manage all three cities on his phone, all three stores are in his phone. So he hired a few store managers, one store manager for each store, right? He hires three store managers. Though he hires store managers to grow his business, he has to continuously track his business, and he has to maintain the inventory in correct way, right? So in some city, so he can sell more bats. In some city, there'll be there'll be gloves, right? So it's not constant, right? It depends on, it varies from city to city. So to track his business, he want to hire a BI guy, BI developer, and he want to create a report or dashboards, okay, to track his business. And he hired you, and you have to build this report, right? So before you build a report, what do you need? You need the data, right? So let's say you got the data, and the structure of the data is like this, right? So there are different. There is a store manager section. There is a product details. What is all product he's gonna sold and product ID, product price, and store details. So what is the store ID? What is the store location or name, right? And the transaction details. This is all the transaction related details, right? Now you have to visualize this on a dashboard. Okay. So before we go and create this report, let's discuss the data life cycle in Power BI, right? So that you will easily understand it. Okay, so it all starts from getting the data, right? So first you need to get the data into Power BI, and then you have to transform the data, right? If you take this example, this transaction thing, on top there is a store thing, right? Store 101, 102, 103. If this transaction is related to 103, they say 1. These zeros are stale, right? This transaction is related to 103. And if you take the second transaction, someone purchased 205 in 5 quantity, and this transaction is related to 102, right? You wanna get all this information vertically, right? Not hard, to properly analyze, right? You have to get that information in a column. For that, you have to transform your data from three columns to one column, right? And there are some unnecessary columns that not needed for your analysis. You have to remove them, right? So we'll talk in detail. You have to transform the data. In this case, in this particular use case, you have to pivot the data. What is pivoting? There are multiple columns. You have to create a one single column for stores, right? And then you create a model. You will model the data. What do you mean? So you will create a relationship between these tables and you will cut down all the unnecessary columns and you create calculations, right? If you wanna create sum of sales, right? You need to create a measure. All these calculations are called measures in Power BI. And once you create that, you will build the visuals, right? You have to build the visuals for users to consume, right? That's the agenda. And if there are multiple users, you would need to create RLS, which is row level security. It's not mandatory for all the reports, but for few reports, you have to create RLS. Right now, if you take this one, there are multiple store managers, right? If a store manager, let's say one or two, if this store manager, who is Bharat, have to access the transaction, he has to access only the one or two information, this store information, because he is that store owner. He should be able to see only this store two information. If Sachin, who is the owner, if he logs in, he should show the entire data, right? So that is a restricting data based on the user login. So which can be do by RLS. There are different security setups like RLS, OLS, and there is a workaround for page level security as well, which we will in detail discuss when this session in security session. But for now, let's say you have to create one role for security, and then you would need to format your data, format the visuals, right? So formatting and then publish. Publish means you have to host this report somewhere to for users to see it. Where do you host this? That's in Power BI service. Let me switch it. Once you complete the report, you will publish it. That published report comes to Power BI service, which is a SaaS service. SaaS means software as a service. You will pay for it and you will use it, right? So that's the Power BI service. In Power BI service, there'll be different workspaces. In workspace, you when you publish it, it will be report plus dataset. We will see in action in a few minutes. So your report will be published and you have created few roles here, right? You have to assign those roles. In this session, we will do the static role creation. When the security session comes there, we will go in detail and we will create dynamic role security and hierarchical security, object level security. We will detail much in that session. Okay. Once you assign the roles, you will share the report or dashboards. And once you share it, so you did it for today. And tomorrow, if the new transactions comes up, right, the dashboard has to automatically update it. So you can't build every day, right? So you have to schedule a refresh, right? And there's much more things like you can schedule alerts, subscriptions, and all. But if you see at high level, this is how it's gonna be. So the data life cycle starts from by getting the data, and you will transform the data. You will and then you will model the data. You will build visuals. You will create security, row level security in this case, and you do the formatting, publish it. Once you publish, you will go to service, Power BI service. You publish that in a one workspace, right? So it gets report and data set, and you will assign the roles, and then you will share the report with the users, and you schedule the refresh for up to date maintenance, right? This is how you're gonna do, and let's see this in action, right? So let's create a quick report. So, okay, so when you launch Power BI, right, this is the icon for Power BI. So when you launch this, you will see this kind of window, right? Now we wanna start a report from scratch, right? So let's take the blank report. Right now, just ignore these options. I'll walk you through in detail. These are the shortcuts for different sources here. And let's start with a blank report. And now our first step is to get the data, right? So as we discussed, we have to get the data. So and I have shown you, I have walked you through the workbook as well, right? Excel workbook. Let me select the data, our sample data. So yeah. And there are multiple sheets in our data, if you have noticed, and each sheet is considered as a table. And you can select what are the sheets or what are the tables that you need to bring into Power BI. And on the right hand side, you can see the table information as well. So right, product details, this is the product table. I need store details as well. I need store manager details as well. I need transaction details. This is how you are gonna get. From here, we have two options. Either we can load the data or we can transform the data. I was referring to do transformations, right? If you click here, it will navigate to a different window where you do all the transformations. Okay, right now I don't want to do transformations directly. I want to load it. Let me load it. Once I load it from your local system, right? That Excel was in your local system. From there, all the data is loading into your Power BI desktop. You see the Power BI desktop on top, right? So this is Power BI desktop. This is how the interface looks, and you are trying to load all the data. Don't worry, we'll come back and we'll talk about all the options at the end. Let's try to create a quick report. If you see here, this is the report view where you build all the report on this canvas. For timing, I'll go to the data view. Here you can analyze the data. Okay, so if you want to build a great report, first you have to understand your data and understand the business. Few businesses could have multiple layers, multiple verticals, right? So first you have to understand the business and understand the data and who are going to consume the reports, right? And what's the purpose of this report as well, and then you go and build the reports. So then you can do a beautiful report, right? So let's understand the data. If we look at the products table, all the products information is there. Their primary keys are their reference or the product IDs are here, and the price is there. And if you notice, there are few blanks information, right? So this is all not needed, right? So we need to delete this data, all the blank rows here. And if we go to store, okay, there are three stores, one in Hyderabad, Mumbai, and the Delhi, and the reference IDs are here. And if you look at the store manager, there are three different managers and for each store ID, and there's a blank space here. We need to remove that. We need to filter that too. And this is the transaction table. And if we understand the transaction table, the product ID, uh, quantity, product ID is which product you have sold, quantity is how many, and store 1 2 3. So you have three stores, and wherever to which store it related to the transaction, there they have given 1, other zeros are stale, right? So okay, and so you're gonna analysis wherever there is 1, right? If you take some random transactions, let's take this transaction 61, it pertains to store number 3 103, right? Okay, and yeah, that's it. So first, to create a relationship, like if I want to create a, you see right here, one relationship is automatically detected by Power BI. The store ID. Since store ID is one column, and I don't prefer this, we have to do some settings before we start a report as a best practice, which we will discuss later. Now, if you look at this, the store IDs, all the store IDs are in one column, and this in store details, the store ID is in another column, and it created a relationship between these two. So if someone logs in, if Bharat logs in, he need to see only for one or two, right? It will filter this, and it will show only one or two details to that user, in this case the Bharat, right? So you need to have everything in one column and the in one table, and so that you can create a relationship between this column and this column, right? Similarly, all our transaction, this transaction is there, so we would need to get a new column where we show the store where this transaction pertains to. In this case, I would need a new column, and there it should be one or two. And for 35, I need to get a new column, and the store should be one or two there, right? And if I, for 49, there should be a one or three reference. So I need a new column. Let me go to let me go and do transformations. To do transformations, there is an option called Power Query. If you right click on your table and edit query, if you click this, it will take to you a new window, or you can click here and transform data. So you have two options to go there, and let me use this. It will take you to a new window called Power Query. Power Query is basically to do all the transformations by using UI. Most of the transformations you can directly do with UI, and this Power Query is powered by M code. You see, right? You see all the code here. This is M code. You can write the code. If you know the M language, you can write the code, but 99% of the times you don't need to write any code. You can do all the transformations with the UI. Okay, for this case, let me go to transaction details. So we want to convert all these three rows into one, right? I'm selecting the rows. There is a concept called unpivot. Okay, I'm gonna unpivot the selected columns. Now if you see, all the attributes are in, they were in three columns. Now I converted into one column, right? And if you see 101, 102, 103, 101, 102, 103, right? So it's converted into one column. But if you see here, we only care one, right? One is basically the how many, where the transaction happened, right? In which, to which store this transaction is related to. One means that, right? And if you notice the rows, number of rows, if I scroll down all the way, you can notice almost 900 transactions, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, you see 900 transactions, right? But what are the actual transactions? There are only 300. You can see here, right? 300. But how come we see 900 there? Because we unpivoted this data, right? For each transaction there are three references, right? If you take two, there are three references, 102, 101, 102, 103. They came as a three rows here. Let's look at one example. Like if we take a 205 transaction, it has three rows here, and those three are 0, 1, 0. But we care only one, right? Where the transaction happened. Oh, let's filter zeros. Let's not take zeros. Let's only take ones. Now see what happened. Right? All the zeros are eliminated. You only see the 300 transactions. Correct? Okay, let me save it, and let's give a proper name for this. I'll give store ID. Or before that, okay, let me keep it as attribute itself. Now if I come here, and if I need to create a relationship between this and my store details, right? For this, it's not going to work. Why? In store I have 3-digit number. In transactions I have 3-digit number and it has some prefix before it. I need to remove that prefix, otherwise it will not match, right? 102 doesn't match with store underscore 102. So I have to do further transaction. I have to do tweak it further. So my aim is to remove all the prefixes and keep only 3-digit letters. Again, as I said, you would need to write M code or use the UI to do it. Let me add a new column. There is a function, there is a shortcut called column from examples. So Power BI is intelligent enough to create a new column on its own if there is a pattern. What does I mean? Let me do this. So I selected this column. I wanna do this from columns from example, and I'm gonna select from selection, right? Now I need to input here. This is 103. What I need from this column, well, I just need a 3-digit information, which I'll enter manually. And I press enter. Boom. You see, it does for all the things. And you just need to give a store ID as a column name and save it. Click OK. It'll create a new column, right? No need to write a single line of code. It'll create automatically, right? And don't worry about all these options. We will come in further sessions where we are going to discuss about transformations. We will discuss all these concepts. Okay, for time being, just remember this, how we unpivoted and how we derived a new column. Okay, let me go and close and apply. So now you got the store ID, you transformed it so that you can create a relationship with your store easily, right? So here you got 3 digits and here you got 3 digits ID, so you can create a relationship. To create a relationship between two tables, you have two options. Either you can directly drag and drop. This is your fact table, right? Let's keep it here. So if you want to create a relationship between your store ID and here your store ID, right, you can directly drag this. It will open this button and you can see here store ID, right? This is the relation. For one record, there are many references in the fact table. That's why it shows one too many. So single direction, it filters this one and save, right? It created the relationship between them. And for products, this product ID to this product ID, I want to create a relationship, right? But it throws an error. Why? If you see here, it is saying there's a many to many relationship, right? Which means for let me go to product details. It is saying there are duplicates here, but you don't see any duplicates here, right? So 201, 202, 203, it's all distinct. So these blanks are responsible for showing those duplicates. It is considering each null, right? And it is considering that there are 5 nulls. So here it's not a distinct, because of the nulls it's creating a many to many relationship. So we have to clean this data. With nulls, what you analyze? You can't analyze anything, right? It's a just scrap. You have to delete it. Again, to do that, I'll just go to edit query, and here I need to remove all the nulls, right? Again, no piece of code, just UI. I just unselected nulls, right? And because I don't want nulls, and I just loaded it, right? It removed the nulls. Let me save it. So now I can create a relationship between product details. I showed you a drag and drop, right? And the best practice is to do from here. When I create a relationship, I put all my fact table left side and dimension table on right side to maintain it in order. If I select this transaction details and product details, what is the unique key? Product ID, and here is the common key product ID. So many to one, I'll save it, right? So now we have modeled the data, like we have created the relationship, we have cut down all the unnecessary columns, right? And we clean up the data as well, the rows in product table. Now it's time to create measures. If you see here the data in sales table, where is transaction details? Yeah. If you see, there is a reference to product and there is reference to quantity. There's no reference to price, right? If you want to know the transaction value of these two, right? There is a 205, the product number ID is 205, and you sold 5 quantity, but what is the price? You don't know that, right? For that, you have to refer the product table and get the price from here. In this case, 205 is the product. So if you go to 205, it is worth of 2000 rupees. So 2000 rupees by multiplied by 5 products, so it comes around 10,000, right? That's how you're gonna get the sales in value of this transaction. So you can't do for everything, right? So right, for that you need to write a calculation. And the best way to do calculation is to create a table and write calculations all there. Let me create a measures table. As I said, these calculations, all the calculations that you write are called measures. Let me load it measures table. So I can write all the measures here, so it will be easy for me to track and to have everything in one place, right? So new measure, and I'll name it as a total sales. And by the way, this is the DAX language. What you have seen in M code in transformations, right? Power Query, that is M language, and this is the DAX language. We will discuss in detail in our fourth session on this. So what I want to do, I want to do all the sum. Why am I writing sum x? We can discuss later. So I have a transaction table where I have a quantity, and from where I can get that price value from a product table, right? But I'm not getting product table here, product information. What I need to use is a related function. Now you see all the product details, right? So price. No worries, we have 3 to 4 sessions for DAX, so we can learn in detail there. And this is a stale column, I can delete it. You see, right now you see it is a table icon. Once I delete this dummy column, it becomes a measure symbol, right? This is how you can maintain a measures table. This is the best practice. Even you can create anywhere, you can click here anywhere and create a new measure. So yeah, now we have modeled our data, we have created a relationship, we cleaned up all the unnecessary information, and we have written our measures. Now it's time to visualize our data. Okay, let's I'll create 3 sample visualizations because it's just a quick report, right? So it's not the actual one, so I'll create 3 visuals. Whatever you see here, right, it's a data section where you can go and see all the columns related to that data, and you see all the measures you have created it, right? You see everything here. And if you want to see the actual data, you have to go to this view, data view or table view, so you can see all the tables there. Now, and this is a visualization pane where you can see all the visualization templates, right? So you can drag and give this data, you will see the visuals. Let's see it in a let me select this chart, which is called a donut chart. It looks like the donuts. So I want to visualize total sales. This is the total sales. 8 million is my total sales. Now I want to know by store how much I have sold. Boom. You see, right? So let me hide this pen for time being. If you come here and select it, it will go away. Yeah. Now you can see the sales information. So in Mumbai I have 3 million sales, in Hyderabad I have 3 million sales, in Delhi I have 2 million sales, right? Let me create one more visual. What I can do, okay, maybe let's, oh, let me undo this, create a new uh, visual. Now I want to visualize the sales by product, which product is taking top sales. And if you see here, bats are, the highest products. Bat got the majority of the sales across my stores, right? And if I wanna visualize like a table, let me take a table visual. Let me put store name, product name, and sales. Okay, so this is how you can create a table visual, right? There's a matrix visual where you can create multiple hierarchy of dimensions, right? We will discuss in detail later. Let me create one final visual, which is a trend. So let's say if I want to know how the trend of the product, let me give quarters. Okay, and I want to visualize the quarterly sales over different products. Okay, this looks very clumsy, right? So your choice of visualization is also very important. So if you give these visuals, right, no one understands anything, right? It's too clumsy. The bottom visual, I'm talking about the bottom visual, this one. So let me make it into a ribbon chart, maybe, or select a different visual. Yeah. Let me select this, and this is called ribbon chart. It looks kind of okay. If you see here, in quarter one, the orange color is a bad, right? You have this sales, bad sales on top, irrespective of the quarter. If you see the green line, which is related to wickets, it's there. It stops in the first quarter. In second quarter, this is the top three product. In second quarter, bags are dominating, right? So this is how you can see the trend, right? So, and let me create a quick filters. Filters are called slicers in Power BI. Okay, so where is that filter? It's been a while that I use Power BI. Yeah. Let me create a store name. Now you see, right, you get all the store, but this is not intuitive, like, so I can select this visual, I can go here and I can format it. This is a format pane. You can format your visuals from here, right? It could be increasing the size or changing the layout, and so slicer, it is a vertical list. I want to make it as a drop down. Now you see, right, it's good. Now let me copy paste and build two more slicers. And store name is done. Let me give some other thing, maybe product, and in one slicer let me give here quarter. Slicer is basically you can slice the data. If I select store Hyderabad, I can see all the details that are related to Hyderabad only, right? You are gonna slice the data and analyze. That's a slicer. So you can do the product and you can do the same by year. Right now we have only sales for 1 year, and you can select a quarter within it. So that's it. So we created our first report, right? Let me save it. Sales report. I'm saving it. Where are we doing this? In a local computer, right? This is my local computer. And which resource is going to consume? All my computer resources, right? The RAM or the storage, whatever, it's going to consume my my laptop resources. Okay, so I saved it with a name called DHA sales, and what we forgot to do is roles, right? We have to create roles. Let me go, if you go to modeling section, manage roles, it used to be not very intuitive earlier. Now it's, they made it very very simple. So I want to create a role called 102 store. Okay, so for that, what I'm gonna do, add new filter, only equals to, in store 2, people whoever log in, they have to see only the details that are pertaining to 1 or 2, right? Only 1 or 2 sales information. So that's the role I created. I'm gonna save it. I'm calling it as a 1 or 2. These are called static roles. If there are 1,000 roles, right, you can't create everything one by one. If there are 1,000 people, you can't create 1,000 roles, right? So you have to do it in a dynamic way, which I'll walk you through in other sessions. So right now I just created it, and we can test this role as well. View as role 102 store, right? If I select this and test, whoever we give that role, they will only see Mumbai details, because Mumbai is 102, right? They only see the sales information about that, right? So this is how row level security is gonna work. You see all the details related to Mumbai only, right? If I stop viewing for that role, you see everything now, right? What is row level security? So there are lots of rows in your table. If you see here, it has information to all the 300 rows which are related to 3 different stores, right? So if I select only 1 or 2, I get only 100 rows, right? If you see here, 113 rows. So whoever has authorized to see 1 or 2, they will only see these rows. They shouldn't see the other rows, right? You are implementing the security literally at every row. So only person related to that store can see the data, right? Right now, if they need to see this much of data, you are going to restrict all the other rows basically, right? That is called row level security. There are different things like object level security, which you hide the columns, right? So let's say there is a, if you are building a HR analytics, if you have a salary details, right, you would need to hide that salary column for majority of the people, right? So you implement object level security. Sometimes you will hide the tables itself, table itself, all the tables. That's that comes under again object level security. As I said, we will discuss in detail in our security session. So let's ignore for time being. Yeah, so we implemented the security. Now we have to share this report with the users, right? We can't give it to everyone, we can't send it them everyone through emails, right? This is a simple report. What if you have 1 GB report? You need to send every them, right? So for that, you are going to publish your report. Let me save it. So if I want to publish, I need to have an ID, and I need to have a service account, Power BI service account. Right now, if I publish, right, it is asking there's no workspace I have defined, right? So let me go to service. So to go to service, you need to go to any browser, search for app.powerbay.com. That'll take you to the Power BI service. Initially, it asks you for the login prompt. You have to give your credentials, and then you can log in. You see here, right? I logged in Bharat at bharatpavla.com. I'm using a free account, so with a subscription trial. So this is the Power BI workspace. On the left hand side, you see the workspaces, right? Workspaces are like a folders in your laptop, right? So there are no workspaces. I'm going to create one. So need HA demo. I can give all the details, right? Right now there's one workspace. Tomorrow, if I have multiple workspaces, we can give a brief description here. Right now I'm not giving anything, so let me save it. We can discuss in detail about what is workspace, what are different things in workspace and all later. So now I have created a workspace called DHA demo. Now let me go back to the report, try to publish again. Now I got the DHA demo. I come here and I publish. So it takes some time based on the size of your report. Boom, it's published. If I go back and refresh, now you see, right? So my report got published. This is the data set. If when you publish an import mode report, it publishes two things. One is a report layer. This is a data set layer. Okay, if I go to the report, you will see all the visuals that you have built, right? This is what you built on a desktop, right? If you wanna share with users, you can share this link, they will access it. It's that simple, right? Let me do this, right? Let me copy this and put it somewhere. So it will be shared by them, it will be shared to them, right? But they should have some kind of license. Everyone can't allow, you can't allow everyone to access this report, right? So for them you have to give either manage access, who can see your report. Right now I'm the admin. If I want to add any people, new people, I can add their emails here, I can give them access, right? So this is how, and once you give them access and share the link, they will be able to see the reports. That's how it's gonna work. And there are different ways to give access. There are apps, there are workspace level access, there are report specific access. You don't expose your report, you don't give any access to any app, but you can just give from here, from manage permissions. So we can see detail later. Now I have to set up the security, right? I have created access in Power BI, but I have to set up the security. For Bharat, me as seeing everything, but we have created this role for only one or two store, right? I was the owner for one or two. I was the manager for one or two. You see here, uh, store details, store manager details. So I'm the manager for one or two. I should see only one or two details, but how come I see everything? Because I created a row level security here, but I didn't assign to anyone. Let's assign that. Let's go to the workspace, uh, security, and this is the role that we have created, one or two stores, right? Let me add the user. Okay, okay, so this is me. So I'm adding my name for this role. I'm telling that this person should see only one or this role. This role shows only one or two information. Let's test this role. So I don't see because I'm the admin of this workspace. Otherwise I'll see only one or two because I'm just the admin of this workspace, so I can't see. But we can see in our security sessions how it's gonna work, right? So there I don't have other IDs, so I'm unable to add them, but I will walk you through in our further sessions. Okay. Let me try to add someone. I think no one got this. Okay, I think no one has the account, so I can't add anyone. So yeah, let's ignore that. And so that's how it's gonna work. When I assign that role, if I remove my name from admin means he can see everything, right? He has right to see everything. That's why it is showing me. If I add someone and remove my privileges from admin to viewer, I'll only see in this way, like how I have shown this way, one or two. I'll only see the details that are related to Mumbai. And one thing I would like to talk about formatting here is, if you see this visual, this is a focus mode. It will zoom it up. If you see the sales information here, it is saying 3 millions. It is saying 3 millions, but this is 33.7% contribution. This is 38.77% contribution. Why? What's the difference? Here comes the formatting. Let me go to these values. Here it is not formatted, right? It is rounding to a single digit. Now I'm asking it to give to round it to two digits, right? Now see, 3.28 million, 2.85 million, right? So it, when you select a single digit, it rounds to 3, right? It rounds to 3.28 to 3, 2.85 to 3, because it's more than 2.5, it's less than 3.5, right? So formatting is very important, so especially these kind of things, right? So you have to properly format. Now it makes sense. 3.28 millions is a 38% sales, 2.85 is a 33% sales, right? Formatting has lots of things. It's not, there are n number of things in formatting, right? So we can discuss in detail in our further sessions. So this is how you will create a report. Okay, this is where you publish it, right? So let me take a snap so that I can walk you through in detail again. Okay, let me come back to my uh, iPad. So just give me a second. Okay, so we were discussing, so far we have covered everything, right? So we have covered the first three. So we discussed about this use case, and then we gave end-to-end life cycle of our data in Power BI, starting from getting the data to how do you share it to users, right? And we have created and published a quick report. Before we go to the next one, let me talk a quick thing about this. So this is all the left hand side, whatever we did, right? Where we did it? We did it in a Power BI desktop. And from publishing the reports and sharing and all, where did we do that? We did it in a service, right? Power BI service. When you do that in desktop, it's gonna use all the resources, all your computer resources or local resources, right? If you have a 4 GB RAM, right, it will be a bit slow. If you have a 16 GB RAM, the report will be fast when you are going to build it, when you at the time of creating this report. Why? So everything to process it, you would just need some RAM and storage, right, and processor. It's going to use all your computer resources, all your local resources, because you are hosting it in a local. When you publish into Power BI service, it's a cloud service, right? So how does it get all the resources? How does it get the RAM? How does it get the memory? Right? How does it process? How does it get the CPU, right? So because it's a SaaS service, software as a service, Microsoft creates it for you. You just need to pay for them, right? Pay for Microsoft, and they will give you, and they can you can host the report. Can you host unlimited reports? No. It's based on your license. So if you have a pro license, right, you get 10 GB space, right? This is a per user licenses. There are some licenses called premium capacity based license, right? If you purchase P1 capacity, you get 25 GB RAM, 1 TB hard disk, or 1 TB storage space, and 16 core mission, 16 core computing capabilities, right? So you have to pay for them. Enterprises purchase mostly premium capacities, all the big enterprises, because they want to host multiple reports and they have to give access to wide range of audiences, right? So we will discuss in detail that. But to connect a dot from the first lesson to here, this is the one. So, and you have to be mindful about your resources and build the reports, right? So you can't build 100 GB of reports when you have just limited space, 10 GB space, right? So you have to be mindful. And if you are an when once you grow in your career, you need to decide which license to purchase, right? If you need to evaluate, you need to be aware of all these basics. That's why I covered few basics in the earlier session, and we will connect all the dots, right? And I also talked about dimension tables and fact tables. So today we discussed about that, right? So if you see here, this is a fact table. You see all the keys here, right? This is all the fact table. And if you see the store details, it's a dimension table. If you see the product details, it's a dimension table. It gives more details about the product. For this product, what is the price? You can get it from this table, right? All the information related to this table, you get it from the dimension table, right? So this is the dimension table, which we discussed in our warehouse concepts class, right? So this is how dimension and facts are. And as I said, so this is how the computer resources are gonna work, right? So if you host in a Power BI service and it will be managed by Microsoft, you just have to pay for them. And in your local, Power BI desktop works in your local, and you can build the reports there, and the performance based on your resources, right? This is about the uh, resources, hardware resources that we spoke about the class in earlier class. Let's talk about the terminology. Let me build this, get this here. Yeah. So when you land into Power BI, right, desktop, so you see different options here. You see the top ribbon. You see the top ribbon, right? This one. And there are different sections in it. Home, insert, modeling, view, optimize, help, right? And if you see on the left hand side, there are four icons. And if you see on the right hand side, there are different panes. If you remember, there was a filter pane here. I hided that. I don't want that. I hided that, right? And there is other section called Power Query, which I have shown, right? And there is a, one second. Okay. And this is Power BI service, right? You see lots of options here, like a home, like a create, one data hub, and workspaces. And this is the workspace that we, this is the report name and workspace name too. DHA demo is the workspace name. And this is the report that we open, DHA sales report, right? And we'll discuss one by one option now. Uh, And before going to Power BI Desktop again, so I want to tell you something like this data section is purely to see all the column names and the table names and the measures that you have written. And if you want to access the data, you have to go to this table view or data view. And all the visualizations you can see here. You can see all the visualizations, which chart you want to bring. And if you want to get more visualizations, you can click this three dots icon and get more visuals from app source. And the formatting thing. And this sections defines where you need to put your all the attributes. If you want to visualize here, you have to get it here, right? And moving to the next one, the formatting one. So I just, if you remember this one, I formatted the sales to two digits, right? How did I do? I went to this section. There were lots of options, formatting options. I went there, I selected the formatting thing from there, and I just did that, right? That's how I formatted the data. And this one is a modeling view where we created a relationship between our models, right? And this is data view where you see the data, right? So there are different options. Let's go one by one and let's talk a brief about them. Give me a second again. Okay, so let's go to Power BI desktop and see what options we got. Okay, for a second, it's not. Yeah. So if you see here on the left hand side, I said you right, this is a report view where you develop the canvas. We talked about visualization pane and the formatting options differs by visual. If you take this visual, there are legends, there are slices. Legend means all these ones, Mumbai, Hyderabad and all, right? Slices, so how you want to color them, right? And rotation, detail labels, how you want. So right now there is a percentage and a value, right? I can select just percentage of total, right? And where I can do that, where I can place them. Oh, I'm sorry. So outside or inside, if I take inside, they'll come on inside, right? And if I take other option, if I take perfect outside, it'll go perfect outside. If I take perfect inside, it all comes inside, right? So yeah, you can choose the formatting option accordingly. And this formatting options differs by visual. If I select this visual, you see there are variety of options available for this, but for this there are only limited options, right? So there are only 4 to 5. If you take table visual, so there are lots of options because it has grids, right? There are grids, different grids. Hard grids means a line separation, right? So that color, this doesn't have grids, so it will have less formatting options. This has more formatting options. So you can go one by one and see the formatting options, and we can discuss in detail about visuals in our visualization section. And if you come to the top, that's about this pane, and there are advanced analytics. We can talk more about the visuals and the formatting things in our visualization session. And this is very high level, okay? And if you notice the top, file is something where you get the regular options like home, open, save as, and home is something where you see the major things. If you see this section, this is data section from where you get the data. And there are different connectors in Power BI, 100 plus connectors, right? So there is Excel, you can get from CSV, you can get from JSON, you can get from a Parquet file, right? If you take databases, there are different databases. There are SQL database, there is a Sybase, Terra database, there are different. Amazon Redshift, which is one of the popular one. And if you take from Microsoft Fabric one, there are semantic models, there are data flows, data mods. And from Power Platform, you got so many options. And from Azure Stack, which is by Microsoft. Azure is a Microsoft based cloud platform. You get all the options. You can get from web, SharePoint, right? These are the connectors. So in next session is about all about getting the data and multiple connectors. So we'll discuss there. And transform data you have already seen. So you can click here, go to transform data. If you want to see your source, you can get it from here. So I got it from my local drive, right? C drive. So that's why it's. And if you want to refresh your tables, you can just simply click here, refresh it. Okay. And if you want to get new visuals, instead from there, if you want to get it from here, you can get it from here. You just select new visual. And this is to create a text box. If you want to write some text here, you can just select this and write whatever you need. So DHA analysis, right? Whatever you want, and you can again format it. You can make it dynamic. You can increase the size, width, whatever position. Let me take it to the 0 position. It will move all the way left, right? So it has again formatting and measures. I showed you, right? You can right click and write a new measure, or you can select the new measure here. Most of the options you can avail from right click. It could be in Power Pivot, this one desktop or Power Query. Most of the options are available. All the quick options you can just right click and get it from here, right? So new measure and insert is something. If you want to insert a visual, if you want to look at the more visual from app source, right? App source is where you get additional visuals, right, from different vendors, right? Here you see different visualizations available. If you want them, just click them and get it to your Power BI desktop. Mm-hmm. That's taking time. Okay, so you can just add it and you will get it, right? So it will be available. Come on, yeah, it'll be available here. And Q&A is a special visual. You can just ask questions, it will give you answers, right? But you have to build something for that. And we can talk about all these, and there are buttons, there are shapes you can insert. If you want to insert images, you can insert from here. You can come to insert section and click here and select the visual from your local, right? You can insert in that way. Modeling, right? If you want to create a measure or you want to manage relationship, part of what you do under modeling section, so you can do here. One additional thing is you can manage, create the roles. You can manage RLS here, right? And view, you see the gallery. Right now all the themes that I'm using part of this gallery theme. You can select different ones, or you can create your own theme by customizing the theme, right? You can give the colors and all. Don't worry, we will come in detail and about each ribbon, each section in our further sessions. I just want to walk you through a high level. These are some more visuals for optimizing. In Slicer, if you don't want to select one by one, you can put this. This comes very handy in direct query models. There is some help like which version you are using. I'm using the latest version, and some external tools related info. Table tools like a new table. There are shortcuts for creating new table and all. So you can go and look at these options. There is a Copilot, which is a enterprise level AI by Microsoft, right? So this is our last session in this series. We are going to talk about GPTs and Copilot in correlation with the Power BI, right? And I have already covered this. That report view is where you create reports. Table view is where you see the data. Model view is where you see where you model the data, right? And here bottom side there are two icons. I'll come, and first one is a desktop view. If people want to access your reports in mobile, you can't put this wide reports in mobile, right? It'll become it'll be very wide and people can't see the numbers, right? You have in mobile, you have to arrange in a different way. How do you want to arrange it? That's the option you are going to take, right? So let's say in mobile, if I want to put it here, okay, and this one I just want to put it down that. So it's literally like how you want to access these reports in mobile. That's how it, that's what it is. You can arrange all your visuals one by one in mobile way. So if your users are going to access the report in mobile, you have to design for it. If they're only accessing in desktop level, you can have it. That's it. If they want mobile view, you have to do some more alignment and plan for this. There's one option called auto create. Let me see. This auto create. If you have no idea how to put it, there's auto create option which will take automatically. It will arrange based on the reports and slicers you have, right? So there's auto create feature. And if you open mobile, you will see in this way. If you open your report in laptop, you're going to see in this way, right? That's the mobile and desktop use. And you can, right now we have only one page, we can create multiple pages reports, right? Generally, typically reports doesn't have only one page. They'll have different sections, right? So you can create multiple pages, multiple reports on the same page. And everything together is called a report, and this is a page in Power BI language. Different people call it, if you take Tableau, they call it as a page, and then this entire thing, whatever we are calling as a page, they call it as a dashboard, right? So it differs from the terminology differs from tool to tool. Okay, so these are the high level walkthrough of this. And the one more thing we forgot, this is Power Query transformations. This is called Power Query or transform data, right? So here you transform the data, we have access it, right? There are different ribbons. If you want just to transform the existing columns, there are different options available here. If you want to add new column like how we did for store ID, so it will add additional columns. There are different options here. And view and query dependencies is something, if you want to see the lineage of your table, your input tables, you can see here.
Okay, everything is coming from a C drive, and these are the tables. And this is a measures table which is independent and created in Power BI, right? And if you look at the Power Query, there are different options. So diagnostics, these are kind of advanced, and we can discuss in a Power Query session, transformation session. And for time being, you can remember, you can just be aware of these options. If you want to connect to source, you can connect from here. And there are two different things, right? So one is left hand side, you see the queries, which gives you information about the tables in between table view. On the right hand side, the transformations that you did, right? So we filtered the rows. If you remember, we removed the blanks here. That's the filtered rows. You can see, you can go, if you don't remember what you have done for this table, you can come here and see. So filtered rows, what we did, we filtered it based on nulls, right? We doesn't, whatever doesn't equal to null, we just filter them. You can come and see here. If you know how to read M code, you can get it from here as well. It's simple, you will easily understand it. Okay, we selected rows which are not equal to null. That's the filtered rows, right? And this is the M code, as I said. So whatever calculations we have written, that's the DAX. This is the M language, which is a case sensitive language. DAX language, where we have written the measures, it's a case, it's insensitive, it's a case insensitive. DAX is case insensitive. This one is a case sensitive. M is a case sensitive. We'll discuss about this in our fourth session. Okay, there are different options. Just go and most of them are understood by name. If you see here, group by, it is group by an attribute. If you split, if you want to split the column, you can split it. Right now we have I'll show you a quick example. Transaction details. If you see this one, we used columns from example. You can use split by as well. Like if you select here, split by delimiter. What is the delimiter? Underscore. Okay, right? It gave a splitter store underscore 103 to store 103.1 based on the delimiter, that is underscore, right? So there are multiple options how you can do. Yeah, and this is very high level about Power Query. We, as I said, we can discuss in detail, and you can go and explore it. Okay, so just download Power BI Desktop from Microsoft Store, or search for download my Power BI. Search for something like desktop download. You get it here. So you can download it. It's a free software, right? So you can download it from Microsoft Store or online for free. Okay, so go and download it and explore it and look at all the options. Okay, so explore all the options. Home, insert, what are the options there? So in further sessions when we discuss about it, so you will easily get it. Okay, so that's it. Let me switch to
Okay, so we have introduced a simple use case in this session. Just I'll quickly summarize. And then we discussed about the data life cycle in Power BI, from getting the data to scheduling. I forgot this. I'll show it in a while. Scheduling refresh. And then we created a quick report, published it, and we discussed about few terminologies in Power BI and desktop and service. There are more to it. We will discuss one by one in further sessions. So let me show you the schedule refresh one for this session, and we can wrap it up. In next session, we'll talk more about the data, right? How we get the data and what are the aspects that you keep in mind. And we will explore 4 to 5 different sources. We get data from 4 to 5 different sources and see what kind of details you would need to get the data, right? So let me switch back to
uh, laptop and show you the Power BI service one, schedule refreshing. Okay, so if you see here the service report that we created, right? Let's say you build this report with a current data set. Tomorrow, if you get more data, right, you can't build it every time, right? So you can schedule a refresh. Like if you click on the three dots here in the middle icon, if you hover it, it will say schedule the refresh. There are different options here. Let's for timing, let's talk about this. Okay, you can configure a refresh from here, right? So you can add it, you can mention the frequency here, daily, weekly and all, right? So we can discuss this in our Power BI service session. There are different ways to configure the refreshes. Okay, we can discuss about all of them and how many times you can schedule the refresh. It's again based on your license. If you have a pro license, you can schedule only 8 times per day, and if you have a premium capacity license, then you can schedule for 48 hours a day, right? Once you schedule it, and if you schedule it like every day 6 a.m., your reports gets updated every day 6 a.m. Okay, I'll walk you through in next session about the scheduling refresh, a quick where we discuss about more data sources, right? There I'll let you know how to schedule the refresh based on the source you select. Yeah, that's it for this session. I hope you enjoy this session, and if you feel like this helps to your friend or someone, share with them. And if you have any suggestions for me, post them in the comments. See you all in next session. Until then, yeah, um, be happy and keep smiling and